Yo guys, what's good? Welcome back to my 4th episode of my NQT Diaries series. This week has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. The structure of the week has changed slightly, but I had my first observation from the head teacher. I've had a few issues with behaviour that I know I've spoken a bit about behaviour before, but I'm going to update you on my situation and how myself, my TAs and the management team have sort of changed and to deal with the behaviour in my class. And today we had a school trip, the first school trip of the year. It went very smoothly. So yeah, I've got quite a lot to talk about, but generally speaking, it was a positive week. I am feeling quite tired now. It is Friday afternoon, but I mean, I'm a teacher. I think I'm going to have to get used to that feeling. But yeah, so we've got a lot to talk about. It's been a good week. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so let's start with Monday. So I rock up to school on Monday feeling fairly fresh, feeling ready to rock the week. I felt prepared, and then I was hit with the bombshell. My TA is sick, and instead the head was going to sit and be my TA for me. It wasn't really actually that bad, but nonetheless, I had my head teacher in the morning act as a supply teacher, and he also threw the bombshell that he wanted to do my observation on the Monday rather than the Thursday, which was initially planned. So my Monday started off with quite a bit of a shock. So my Monday started, and it was not really what I was expecting, but you know, that's kind of the whole part of being a teacher. You have to think on your feet, and sometimes you just have to roll with what you get given, or what gets thrown at you, I suppose. In fairness, the observation was harmless. It was a general observation. He wasn't really sat there with a pen and paper, like looking up at me. He was very active in the class. He supported one of my lower ability children, and they did some really good work. And then afterwards, or the following day even, he just had a general chat with me about how it's going, about the classroom, and yeah, generally speaking, it was a positive experience. But as you can imagine, first thing on the Monday, the last thing you really want to hear is, your TA's ill, I'm going to do it for you. Oh, I'm also going to observe you at the same time. Right, okay, cool. So Monday went pretty smoothly. My head teacher didn't stay in for the entire day. He left in the afternoon because he had a course to go on. But yeah, Monday was pretty relaxed, and despite the fact that he was observing me, like I said already, he mostly focused on the child that I asked him to work with, and yeah, generally speaking, it was a positive experience. Tuesday wasn't quite as good. So yeah, Tuesday, woke up, and the lurgies that all the kids had been passing around each other had finally been transferred onto me. I didn't feel too bad, but my voice sounded quite deep and croaky and horsey, and I knew it was the longer the day went on, the deeper my voice got, the harder it was to talk. And I could just feel the pressure building in my sinuses. Yeah, it was nice. But in terms of the teaching, Tuesday was a pretty decent day, relatively calm. I moved children on. There wasn't anything crazy to speak about it. I just felt rubbish. So I suppose my tolerance was a little bit lower than it normally was. But other than that, I felt like the day went pretty well. So nothing really to comment. We then move into Wednesday, and my cold had fully developed at this point, but despite the fact that I would love to have had a lay-in and to have chilled out, 8:30 we had the school photographer come in, and the school photographer at this point in the term only comes in to do sibling photos and individual photos for the classes, so I didn't have to present myself with the rest of my class. That's done later in the year. However, because I'm a new member of staff, I needed my photo taken for the website and for my sort of lanyard tag thing, my sort of staff card. So I rocked up in a nice shirt, nice pair of trousers, presented myself to the camera, did my best. I'm not ill shot, I'm a professional, and then crawled back upstairs where I normally do my work for my PPA and put my trackies on. Again, by the end of the day, my head felt so pressurized, it was ridiculous. But I got some good work done. I got my planning done. I was able to input things put things in children's books, put things up on the displays. So yeah, really good input for Wednesday. So all in all, it was really good. The other thing that happened on Wednesday was my literacy books were taken for moderation, book look, whatever, by the literacy head. And that came back really good. I spoke to her in the afternoon and she was really happy with my work. Or not my work, with their work, my teaching. You get what I'm saying. Now, she did give me some advice on where she wants to see my book going, but to be honest, for the most part, it was mostly looking at doing a golden right. Hadn't yet got onto one, but we've worked up to that, so we're going to be doing that next week, which is basically where children have little if no input from me or the TAs, and they have to write a piece of work that is in line with what we've already taught them. So at the moment we're doing informative texts, so next week they'll write an informative text. And then the only other point that she wanted me to try and improve on was the children's use of their purple pens. So in most primary schools, the children have purple pens, they're purple correction pens. So if they've misspelt words, for instance, or if they should have used capital letters rather than lowercase letters, when you mark it, you circle the word or you put SP for spelling. And obviously it depends on what year group. Sometimes you have stamps as well. And it means that when the books are being looked through, you can see that the children are inputting into improving their work. And so hopefully, because they're taking note of what they've got wrong or what they need to improve on, when they come to do writing later on further down the line, that they should have learnt something, or at least improved on what they've already done. Okay. Thursday was a long day. Thursday was one of those days where, yeah, it was just one of them days. I needed a lot of hot drinks. I needed chocolate. I don't normally eat that much chocolate, but I needed chocolate. I needed some loving. It was a long day. The main reason it was a long day was, again, unfortunately, my TA head was ill still, and basically, we were left with this one individual who really does need more support than he sometimes gets. He really needs a one-to-one, but he doesn't have the funding for a one-to-one at this point. But the paperwork is going through; it's being processed, so hopefully it will come up soon. And this individual, he's brilliant, but when he doesn't understand stuff, rather than like putting his hand up and asking for help, he gets up and he tries to distract and speak with other children, which obviously puts us in a difficult state because he needs to be focused, and you can only really do that when an adult is with him. The moment an adult moves away from him, 9 times out of 10 he'll then leave his space to try and speak to other children. We have things called ABCs in my school. Other primary schools may well have them too, and it's just whenever a child has done something or frequently does stuff that they shouldn't do, you write it down. It's just a behaviour chart. It's like a record of their behaviour that you can then put on your systems. But the good thing is that I spoke with the head and I spoke with the senior leaders and I said, look, this is really becoming a problem. And they were very supportive, and they came out with lots of suggestions, and they realised that it's as much their job to try and worry about getting him a one-to-one and supporting him as it is for me. So that was really positive. So what I would say is, if you are in a similar position to me, if you were in a position whereby you've got a child in your class that you're struggling with their behaviour, that could just be not focusing on their work, or that could be getting up and distracting others. Just make sure that you're recording things down as frequently as possible. We in my school use Sims, which is the online system for registers and all that kind of stuff. Every time something happens that you feel you need to record, put it on Sims. Fill out any forms that you need to, so that you're basically building up a body of evidence so that if you do go to put in you know, for plans, behavioural plans, and you try to request for more funding for something like a one-to-one, that you have that body of evidence there. If it's getting to a point, guys, where you need to remove that child for the well-being of the overall class, then that's something that you really need to speak with your senior leaders about and your head about. Ultimately, although you obviously don't want to have to remove them from your class, you've got to realise that as a teacher, your job is to make sure that the entirety of the class is learning and developing. And if you have 30 kids in your class and one of them is distracting the majority, then that person needs to be dealt with appropriately. And that might well mean that if they get taken out of the class more frequently, that a one-to-one might come in, or they might have appropriate interventions for them. Okay, and that leads me on to today, Friday. I was pretty chilled out today, pretty relaxed, because essentially it was about a week or so, I think it was the mid-beginning of last week, the year 5-6 teacher basically said to me, we need you to come on a trip with us next week, because the people that we were going to be booking on this trip with have had to cancel. So we got a trip out of it, and it meant that I've not had to worry too much about today, other than turning up and supporting the group of children I had walk around Cheltenham Literature Festival in Cheltenham. It was really good. It was, you know, the festival itself is well laid out. They had some nice food stalls, not that we really got to enjoy it. Well, I enjoyed it. The children had packed lunches. I enjoyed the food that was there. The children had this sheet to fill out, and they had to go and find clues, which was really exciting. They also had a discussion, or not discussion, it was a lecture, I suppose, a talk by the author of How to Train Your Dragon. So there are lots of books that this author has written and has put out, but if you're familiar with the How to Train Your Dragon films, the lady who, the genius behind those films essentially is this author, and she spoke about how she grew up in London and how she spent time in Scotland and the experiences that she had as a child and the key things that she's taken away from being an author. And it was just really good for the children to listen to an author, and most of them have read her books, which was fantastic. So yeah, that was today. I also think part of the reason why I'm so tired from today is because I had to drive to school to get a coach back basically to where I live, to get a coach back to school, to drive back. It's been a lot of travel, a lot of children screaming, and me kind of like, it's a bit like herding cats when you take kids on school trips, especially the age that I teach. But there we go. It was a good day overall. They all enjoyed it. They then got to go back to school. It was Friday afternoon. They then had golden time. I got to mark my English books, and I'm ready for my weekend. Yes. And there we go, guys. That is a wrap. I hope you have enjoyed it. I'm doing my best to keep these videos shorter, but I kind of get on a flow with what I'm saying, and it kind of carries me away. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, please smash that like button. If you haven't, I don't mind you hitting that dislike button. I'm pretty open about this channel. This is all love and care. If you want to ask me any questions about my week so far, or about the literature festival in Cheltenham, please comment down below. And if you're new to the channel and you like these videos, or you want to see more of this kind of stuff, consider subscribing, and you'll obviously keep updated with all the stuff that I upload. On that note, I'm gonna try not to die. See you guys later. Have a good weekend. Peace.